Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 12, Vritrasura's Glorious Death, verse number 16. Pashyamam nirchitam shatru Vrikrayudha bhujam mridhe Ghatamanam yatha shakti Tava prana jihirshaya. Translation. O my enemy, just look at me. I have already been defeated, for my weapon and arm have been cut to pieces. You have already overwhelmed me, but nonetheless, with a desire to kill you, I am trying my best to fight. I am not at all morose, even under such adverse conditions. Therefore, you should give up your moroseness and continue fighting. Purport by His Divine Grace. Vritrasura was so great and powerful that in effect he was acting as the spiritual master of Indra. Although Vritrasura was on the verge of defeat, he was not at all affected. He knew that he was going to be defeated by Indra, and he voluntarily accepted that. But since he was supposed to be Indra's enemy, he tried his best to kill Indra. Thus he performed his duty. One should perform his duty under all circumstances, even though one may know what the result will be. So this chapter, Vritrasura's glorious death, this verse has been spoken by Vritrasura to his enemy Indra. And there are three very important lessons that Vritrasura is teaching us. Very important lessons both for a spiritualist and even from a material point of view. We'll see what those three lessons are. So the background is that this fight is going on between the Devata Indra and all his other associates, the other devatas, and Vritrasura, who is a demon. Indra wants to win back his kingdom, which the demons have occupied. The Indra Loka, the demons have occupied. So Indra is fighting with Vritrasura so that he can gain back his kingdom. But Vritrasura is no ordinary demon, very powerful demon. We saw in the previous verses how Vritrasura came out. And Vritrasura is not only a very powerful demon, but actually he's not a demon. He's a great devotee in the body of a demon. So he remembers all those things. So that is why here it is said that the demon Vritrasura has become the spiritual master of the Devata Indra, because he's not a demon. So Prabhupada writes a purport that Vritrasura was so great and powerful that in effect he was acting as a spiritual master of Indra. Now, the situation here is that he's saying, the translation says, "O my enemy, just look at me. I have already been defeated, for my weapon and arm have been cut to pieces." So Vritrasura's position is that he's on the verge of defeat, but still, at this point where he knows he will be defeated, he is determined to fight. So, how the battle goes on, how the battle is happening, and what is the situation right now? Indra first tries to strike Vritrasura with his club, and Vritrasura just catches it effortlessly when the club is hurling towards him in his left hand and destroys it. So Indra is shocked. Oh, I threw a club and it was useless. And effortlessly Vritrasura counteracts it. And then Vritrasura throws his trident. And Indra now had his weapon, Thunderbolt. And this was not an ordinary weapon, Thunderbolt. This was a weapon which was made as per the instructions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So using his Thunderbolt, Indra easily destroys the trident of Vritrasura. And not only he destroys his trident, he cuts off his arm also. But Vritrasura, in spite of, and Vritrasura knows that this thunderbolt is what is going to kill me, because he knows that this thunderbolt is not an ordinary thunderbolt. This is what has been manufactured as per the made as in accordance with Lord's plan, Lord Krishna's desire. Special mantras have been chanted. And so he tells Indra that, so when his one arm is severed and he has lost his weapon also, the trident, he takes up his club and attacks Indra. It's not a club, it's an iron mace. It's an iron mace. And then Indra loses his thunderbolt. It falls off from his hand. And now is the situation where Vritrasura's one arm is gone. You can imagine in the fight, if you don't have one arm, it's almost you're defeated. And your weapon is also gone. And there Indra is perfectly okay. And he has the thunderbolt which has been given to him by Lord Krishna. So this is the situation. And that is why here Vritrasura is saying, I have already been defeated, for my weapon and arm has been cut to pieces. His trishul, his trident was destroyed, his arm has been cut, he has no weapon, his one arm is gone. You have already overwhelmed me with a desire, but nonetheless, with a desire to kill you, I am trying my best. So this is the first lesson that we learn. Vritrasura is saying, I am trying my best to fight. Even though he knows that he will be defeated, he is trying his best to fight. So we see sometimes when we know that there is definitely not going to be any victory, what is the use of trying? Anyway, it's a lost battle. But still he is trying his best because he knows, so this is the second lesson, he must perform his duty at any cost, and he should not be concerned about the outcome. So the first lesson is, in all situations, of course here the outcome is very clear, and still he is trying his best. Many times when we try something, we do not know what the outcome will be. Still we must go on trying our best, and especially in spiritual life. In spiritual life we know the outcome will only be good. So why shouldn't we try our best? Even in this adverse situation, if Vritrasura is trying his best, knowing very well that he will be defeated, how much we should try our best in our spiritual life, in our daily duties of Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada, in one quote, he writes, he just doesn't write, try our best. He puts it very nicely. He's writing to a devotee in his letter, and this is what he writes. We must always sincerely try to do our best. So not just try to do our best, trying our best, sincerely, must always sincerely try to do our best. So, in effect, Prabhupada is saying, for a devotee to keep trying his best is not an option, it's a must. And this is something very interesting. Are we in a transcendental position? No, we are not in a transcendental position. That Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na shochati na kangshati is a very long way. That is transcendental position. But here in this letter, Prabhupada is saying, And then he continues, we must always sincerely try to do our best with great determination. You see how, in what mood we have to be trying to do our best? Try to do your best with great determination, sincerely try to do your best, and must always. And then Prabhupada writes, if you do like this, this is the transcendental position. So transcendental position, one thing is, you are in the transcendental position by purified chanting, by becoming a pure devotee, you are in the Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma stage. But here, this is what Prabhupada is indicating, that if you are trying your best with your full determination, sincerely, always, that is also a transcendental position. And this transcendental position is actually within our reach, because all of us have our ability, have a certain aptitude of mind. And if we just apply ourselves in Krishna consciousness sincerely, with determination, trying our best, that is a transcendental position. And he concludes this by saying, success or failure, this is not our business. Because we are thinking of success and failure, we either get excited with success or we become morose, dejected because of failure. No, we have to be equipoised. And when the goal is not about fruit, when the goal is about duty, then that's why Prabhupada is saying success or failure, it is not our business. We just have to do our duty. So here, actually in another verse, I think it is verse number 7. No. Verse number 7, again Prabhupada is writing a similar purport. Vitrasura encouraged Indra, saying, don't be morose because of my victory. That time he was in a better position. When there is no need to stop fighting, instead you should go on with your duty. When Krishna desires, you will certainly be victorious. Now Prabhupada writes, this is a very instructive verse. This is very instructive for sincere workers in Krishna consciousness movement. We should not be jubilant in victory or morose in defeat. We should make a sincere effort to implement the will of Krishna or Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we should not be concerned with victory or defeat. Our only duty is to work sincerely so that our activities may be recognized by Krishna. This is the point. What happens when you work sincerely without thinking of the fruit? When we are trying our best, Krishna is noting, yes, he's putting in his best. He's helpless, we are all in a very helpless situation. But he's putting in his best. And when we try our best sincerely, the mood, so here it is mentioned, the mood is also very important. The mood is, I am trying my best, but with great determination, as here it is said, but the mood should be mood of humility, mood of surrender. The mood should not be, oh, I am doing because sometimes when we put in our best effort, and sometimes Krishna will bless us with some result, with some fruit. Although we are not supposed to be aspiring for the fruit, when Krishna blesses us, then a kind of confidence comes in. Then the kind of karta ham, I am the doer comes in. So trying the best should be with humility. The other day we were discussing that Prabhupada is saying what should be our prayer. Our prayer, because this material world is very dangerous. We are in a very dangerous situation. This is the nature of the material world. There are so many diseases, there is old age, and we are struggling, and our health is not good, and so many, shoka, moha, so many, we undergo so many difficult situations. And so in spite of that, we should go on trying our best with a prayer. Try your best with a prayer to Srila Prabhupada. And what is that prayer? He's writing, the prayer should be, O my Lord Krishna, please give me strength. Why? Because I have no strength. I have no qualification. I am frail. I am fallen. I am trying, but I am failing. So these 5 things, Prabhupada says, this is the prayer. I have no qualification. I have no strength. I am frail. Frail means, very weak. No strength, again the same thing. I am very fallen. This is my situation. And I am trying, but I am failing. And then he says, all these appeals should be made. This is an appeal. An appeal from a sincere soul to Krishna never goes unheard. And then he says that, so when you make an appeal like this and you keep trying your best, you may fail. But since you're trying your best and humbly you're making an appeal, Krishna is all merciful. He will help you. He will say, okay, yes, here I am. And he will hold your hand and he will take you back. He will protect you. He will give you success. And the example he gives, just like a child. A child, he's trying to walk. But every time he tries to walk, he falls down. Again, he's trying his best to walk, he falls down. Then the mother or the father will see, oh, my child is trying to walk, he's failing always. And so what do the parents do? They will hold the child, they will hold his hand, and when his one hand is held by his parents, the child can walk. So similarly, we should have no worries. We are trying our best. The world is a very dangerous situation. We should just go on trying. And that trying our best with determination is a transcendental position. It is so wonderful. So that is lesson 1, trying our best. The lesson 2 is, I am not at all morose, even under such adverse conditions. Therefore, you should also give up your moroseness and continue fighting. So, never feel dejected or morose. Always be enthusiastic in spiritual life. And this is what Rupa Goswami teaches us, the 6 principles favorable for devotional service. The first principle is utsaha, nishchaya, dhairya. Utsaha means enthusiasm. Our enthusiasm should never wane. Because we are trying, it's not an ordinary thing that we are trying to achieve. We are trying to go back to the spiritual world and there serve Krishna, experience unlimited happiness. So and we are very dangerously situated. But since the goal is so sublime, I have Krishna who's going to help me, and I know that I will be successful because Krishna is there. If I try my best, Krishna will definitely protect me. You go on with your duties, come what may. There may be so many difficulties, but I have to be enthusiastic. This is where this eagerness is very important. Lolyam. This is the only price required to get Krishna. Prabhupada gives an example that just like a materialist, he has got $1 million. $1 million is a big money. Still, he will not be satisfied. Okay, yeah, $1 million is enough. Now I can rest. No, he will be eager and enthusiastic to work to make his $1 million, $2 million, $2 million, $5 million, $5 million, 10, 100, billions also he'll go on working. That is his enthusiasm. He's not satisfied. So similarly, we are trying to get Krishna. And I want to serve Krishna as much. I'm serving Krishna, I want to serve him more. I'm serving him more, I want to increase my service. So if a materialist can be so enthusiastic and so eager to earn more and more, a devotee should also be very, very eager and enthusiastic to serve Krishna, come what may. Do not worry about the results. What Krishna says, he will only note your endeavor. Krishna sees he's making a sincere attempt, and that is what pleases Krishna. So that is the second thing. Therefore, we should give up our moroseness and continue fighting. Continue with our duty. And the third thing is that doing our duty. Of course, all three are connected. Although Vritrasura was on the verge of defeat, he was not at all affected. He knew that he was going to be defeated by Indra, and he voluntarily accepted that. But since he was supposed to be Indra's enemy, he tried his best to kill Indra. Thus he performed his duty. And then the purport concludes with, one should perform his duty under all circumstances, even though one may know what the result will be. So this is a very special situation, how we should be so attached to doing our duty and be determined. Here Vritrasura, he knows he is going to die, but still he is doing his duty. He knows the result is not going to be good, but still he's unabated. He is fixed in doing his duty. And just like he knows that at the end of death also there is, he's going back to the spiritual world. So similarly, if we die in this spirit, serving the Lord's mission, serving our Guru, we should be, as Prabhupada says, we should have complete conviction. Iha hoite sarva siddhi hoibe tomar. We should have complete conviction that if I am practicing Krishna consciousness, I will achieve all perfection. So many difficulties may come. I simply have to tolerate it. I simply have to be equipoised. And I have to go on with my duty. So just like here, Vritrasura, he knows he's on the battlefield and he has to fight with Krishna. He has a specific duty and he's doing his duty. In the same way, we also have a very special duty in this human form of life. And we have coming to this material world, somehow we have forgotten what is the real duty in this human form of life. Today in the material world, people are ignorant of this real duty. They are all thinking that the duties that they have assumed upon themselves is the duty, and this most important duty, connecting with God, serving God, has been forgotten. Prabhupada gives a very nice example of how to know what should be our duty. A person who is going to his office from 9 to 5, he knows that generally we consider that as our duty, right? Going to office and working, and this is our duty. Fine. Now when you go to office, your duty is to exactly follow the instructions of your boss. If you're not doing the duty in the office, which is your boss's instruction, your manager will not keep you. Because when you are in office, you are supposed to be doing his work, not some other work. Then he will say, okay, you can please exit. You have to do my work. In my place, you have to do my work. This is the purpose for which I have hired you. In the same way, there is a purpose for which we are here in this material world. And being in the material world, if we forget what is the purpose of our being here, and we take on so many assumed duties, then we are mistaken. We are in great illusion. And that is why the Vedanta Sutras begin with this Vedanta Sutra, the first, the revealed literature, things to Brahma, written by Vyasadeva. This is one of the first books that he compiled, Vedanta Sutra. In that, the first aphorism is Athato Brahma Jignasa. You've come to this material world, now inquire about the Brahman. This is our duty. Who am I? Why am I suffering? What is my goal? Why am I here? I'm going on in this 84 lakh species of life, coming, going, but there's no relief. Birth, death, old age, disease, I'm going through it. Is this what life is meant for? No, human life is meant for a different purpose. It is not, you have come here to this material world so that we can perfect our life, we can put an end to all the suffering by serving Krishna and go back to the spiritual world. This is our only duty. But we have forgotten that. And that is why scriptures they are waking us up. Uttishta, Jagrata, Prapya Varan Nibodhat. This is the statements that Uttishta, wake up. Jagrata, wake up again. Because we are sleeping in the lap of Maya, we are sleeping in deep ignorance. So these words, strong words are being used. Uttishta, Jagrata, Prapya Varan. You have attained a vara. Vara means a boon, a great boon. This human form of life, because it is only in this human form of life that you have an opportunity to put an end to all the sufferings. Don't miss it. Why are we going to office and doing our duty? Because we want to earn money and we want to satisfy our desires so that we put an end to our suffering. If you stop going to office, there'll be suffering because you won't get the money, then you cannot maintain yourself, there'll be suffering. But then we don't realize that this real suffering, birth, death, old age, disease is not stopping. And that is the solution that we have to make. And for that, only Mukti, Krishna only can put an end to birth, death, old age, disease. Nobody else can put an end to that. In one place, Prabhupada is saying, the Vedas are crying. And in that crying mood, they are saying, Uttishta, Jagrata, Prapya, Varan, Nibodhat. This is how they are, that is the mood. Please, so different moods, it's being explained. They're crying because they are seeing that, oh my God, this conditioned soul is so deeply absorbed in material activities. So they're crying. So much Krishna has done for us to wake us up and to tell us, please do your duty. This is our only duty. To awaken ourselves from the deep slumber that we are in. And that is why Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam braja. This is our highest duty, Krishna is saying. Just give up all other concocted religions and just surrender to me. And see Krishna, how nicely he's telling, we may worry that, I have to just surrender to Krishna and what will happen to me? No, Krishna is saying, Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshishyami ma shucha. I'll protect you from all sins. Do not worry. And then Krishna is also saying in Bhagavad Gita, I will take you back to Godhead also. So Krishna, the Supreme Personality of God, is promising. What more do we need? So, in this human form of life, we may have, because we have a human body and, because we have a body to maintain, we have things to do, but those things cannot overpower this most important duty, which is our spiritual duty, which is to please Krishna. Atha pumbir dvija shrestha varnashrama vibhageshaha swanushthitasya dharmasya samsiddhir haritoshanam. Dharmasya samsiddhi, the highest dharma, the highest duty is to please Krishna. So our duty is to become Krishna conscious, and to become Krishna conscious, we have to follow in the footsteps of the spiritual master. Just like Srila Prabhupada. You see how Prabhupada, the best, we are learning this duty from Vritrasura, and how he was trying his best, and how he was not morose, he was enthusiastic, and he did his duty. The best example for this is our own spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada, if you see, the situation that Srila Prabhupada was in, he was quite old, he had a failing health, he was in Vrindavan, but his duty was to fulfill the words of his spiritual master, and the words of his spiritual master was, Krishna is not an Indian God, Krishna is God for the whole world. The world needs Krishna, that is why they are suffering. I want you to preach this message in the Western world. And Prabhupada had that duty in mind. So in spite of all difficulties, Prabhupada was trying his best We know the whole story of how he was trying to get his visa and he was not getting because people were concerned that he will not survive. And at 72, at the age of 70, at the age of 69, he is making an attempt and he's trying his best. And then somehow he went. And on the way, he got 2 heart attacks. But he was not morose. He was enthusiastic. He knew, come what may. He was not worried about the result. Prabhupada writes, I will try my best. Success or failure, Krishna will give me. Because this is my duty, so I am trying my best. So in the same way, just like Prabhupada tried his best, because he had his spiritual master in his spiritual master's instructions in his heart, in the same way, we must also try our best with great determination and humbly pray to the Supreme Lord that please help me to do my duty of following the order of my spiritual master. What is the order of Srila Prabhupada for us? In one Bhagavatam purport, Prabhupada is writing, this is in the 4th canto, Prabhupada writes, similarly, a devoted disciple of the spiritual master would rather die with the spiritual master than fail to execute the spiritual master's mission. This is exactly the mood that Srila Prabhupada was. He was ready to give up his life, but to take Krishna consciousness to his West. As the Supreme Personality of Godhead comes down upon this earth to reestablish the principles of religion, so his representative, the spiritual master, also comes to reestablish religious principles. It is the duty of the disciple to take charge of the mission of the spiritual master and execute it properly. Otherwise, the disciple should die. Otherwise, the disciple should decide to die along with the spiritual master. In other words, to execute the will of the spiritual master, the disciple should be prepared to lay down his life and abandon all personal considerations. So, this is the mood that Srila Prabhupada was in, and this is the mood. So, what is our duty is to execute the will of the spiritual master. And the most important will of the spiritual master is, first of all, of course, so we have to become Krishna conscious, we have to go back to Godhead, and we have to preach. But first of all, the most important is we ourselves should try our best for self-purification. Sometimes we get very enthusiastic with preaching. And yes, that is very good, and we must do that. In fact, our whole day's work is nothing but preaching. But in this goal of preaching, in this goal of trying to achieve something, doing big for Prabhupada, we should not forget our own self-purification. Because if the self is not purified nicely, then this doing big for Prabhupada will also not come about. And if it comes, you're doing something good, very good, that is the blessings of the spiritual master, that it is there. But if you're not properly situated, if your consciousness is not purified, if you're not trying your best, struggling for self-improvement, then all these big things that we are doing will result in pride accumulating. So, Prabhupada always said, like as Prabhupada says, that if in the Bhagavad Gita purport he writes, if by our writing this book, if we can turn one person into a pure devotee, our attempt will be a success. In yet another place, Prabhupada writes that a spiritual master is not so much satisfied when the disciple brings him big money and does big things, something like that. But a spiritual master is really satisfied and happy when he sees his devotee genuinely advancing in Krishna consciousness. So this is the specific instruction that Srila Prabhupada has given us. Aap first preach to yourself and then preach others. Aponi achari Prabhu porera shikhai. And best example is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. So here, I will just read a few more. And so the first, we are blessed with such a wonderful, situation where we can peacefully practice Krishna consciousness and preach also. But we must always be very conscious that, every day we must reflect and we must ensure that we are properly executing our sadhana, properly doing our duty. And Prabhupada, what is the duty that he gave? So I will read a few quotes. This is everyone's duty. So everyone's duty. So everyone's duty is to stop this birth and death problem by chanting Hare Krishna, and that is the only duty. So it's everyone's duty and the only duty. And he says this should be taught from the very beginning of life, just like these children. Even Prahlad Maharaj says the same thing. Kaumaram acharet pragno dharman bhagavatam. A small boy is saying that those who are intelligent should take up this duty of Bhagavad Dharma. Principally, it is chanting of Hare Krishna. So this is everyone's duty and only duty. Another one. According to Vedic literatures, the foremost occupational duty for humanity in this age of Kali is Nama Sankirtana, or congregational chanting of the holy name. This is our foremost occupational duty. And then he says, amongst all our duties, surely we must not forget to complete our 16 rounds. We should not be carried away simply by the Krishna duties, which is also regarded as good as chanting, but in all circumstances, we shall not forget this duty. So not forgetting. So this is our foremost duty. This is our only duty. There is no other duty, and we should not forget this duty. So in many other places also, Prabhupada, this is our highest duty, and so many things. So it's very important that, as devotees, we take up this, this self-purification, this duty of chanting Hare Krishna very nicely. And just like Vritrasura has a duty, and Prabhupada also explains his duty was specifically given by his spiritual master to preach, and he did everything to, tried his best. In the same way, if we try our best and make those prayers, Krishna, so our prayer, while chanting, we know all what we go through. And so just like Prabhupada had that prayer, no strength, no qualification, I'm frail, I'm fallen, I'm failing. In the same way, there's one nice song where this prayer is there. Our prayer should be to our spiritual master for our duty, because spiritual master has given us the duty. So our prayer should be, Ekaki amara nahi paya bala, Hari nama sankirtane, Tumi kripa kori, Shraddha bindu diya, Deho Krishna nama dhane. On my own, I have no strength. Ekaki amara nahi paya bala, I have no strength. I am frail. Hari nama sankirtane, to chant the holy name. Tumi kripa kori, but if you bless me, Shraddha bindu diya, by giving me a drop of Shraddha, drop of faith, then Deho Krishna nama dhane, then I'll be able to chant and get this holy name. So this is our duty. So it's a very nice verse where we have to keep trying our best with humility, with determination, never be morose, always be enthusiastic, come what may. Material world is dangerous, and go on with your duty. And if you are in this, if you are doing like this, Krishna's mercy is guaranteed. His mercy is always there. Even otherwise, His mercy is there. But, that to become free from this threefold material miseries and, to serve Krishna very nicely, Krishna is always there. Krishna is waiting anxiously when this soul will turn his face towards me. Krishna is eagerly waiting for us. It's just that we have to apply ourselves and everything will be there. So we'll end here. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande.